The world was quiet, almost too quiet. In the skies above Earth, satellites blinked silently, collecting data, while billions of people went about their daily lives, unaware of the monumental event about to unfold. Deep in the heart of the United Nations headquarters, a team of scientists, politicians, and military leaders gathered in a high-security briefing room. The room hummed with anticipation, tension, and a subtle undercurrent of fear. Humanity had received a message, a signal unlike anything before, a clear, intelligent communication from an alien species calling themselves the Velerans. The message was simple but profound. We have observed your world. We seek dialogue. For most humans, it sounded like the beginning of a dream or a nightmare. Across the globe, scientists speculated on what the Velarans wanted. Some believed they were here to trade knowledge, to advance human civilization into the stars. Others warned of hidden agendas and threats beyond imagination. One thing was certain: the world had a choice to make, and time was short. The United Nations had chosen diplomacy. A small elite delegation was to travel to Veleran space aboard a specially designed ship. It would be slow, small, and peaceful. The mission was supposed to be symbolic, a gesture of goodwill showing that humanity came in peace. Everyone agreed it would be safer this way, or so they thought. Behind the closed doors of military command, another plan was forming. Humanity had always feared the unknown, and many in the military argued that peaceful gestures alone could not protect Earth. In whispers that carried over secure communications, they proposed something far bolder. "If we go unarmed," said General Marcus Thorne, a broad-shouldered veteran with eyes that never seemed to miss anything, "we show weakness, and the Velarans will take advantage. We cannot gamble with the survival of our species." The room fell silent. A young scientist, Dr. Lena Ortiz, finally spoke up, her voice firm. "General, the message was clear. They want dialogue. Sending a warship will make first contact." "Dangerous." Thorne's face hardened. "Dangerous?" "Yes, but necessary. Humanity must show it can defend itself. If we do not demonstrate strength, we may never get a second chance." And so the decision was made. Not a small diplomatic vessel as the UN had hoped, but a Dreadnought-class spaceship, the largest, most advanced human ship ever built. It was designed for war, bristling with weapons, shields, and cutting-edge AI. It could obliterate entire fleets with ease, and it was being sent to make first contact. Captain Arya Voss stood on the observation deck of the USS Resolute, staring out at the blackness of space. She was in her early 30s with short dark hair and a no-nonsense demeanor that had earned her respect from every crew member. Arya had trained for countless scenarios and simulations, from alien diplomacy to full-scale space battles. And yet nothing in her career had prepared her for this. The Resolute was more than a ship, it was a statement. It gleamed under the lights of the shipyard like a predator ready to pounce, every surface polished, every weapon online. The AI, named Aegis, had already mapped millions of potential threat scenarios. It spoke in calm, measured tones, providing information faster than any human could process. "Captain Voss," Aegis said, its voice smooth and emotionless. "All systems are at full readiness. Weapons, shields, propulsion, and communications are operational. Estimated travel time to Velaran space, 43 standard days." Arya nodded, though she felt a knot in her stomach. "Understood, Aegis. Keep me updated on any anomalies, and keep your diplomatic protocols ready, even if they don't want them." The crew of the Resolute was a mix of the best humanity had to offer. Engineers, scientists, navigators, and soldiers trained for both exploration and combat. Each of them understood the stakes. First contact could be the greatest achievement in human history, or the last mistake humanity would ever make. Meanwhile, on Earth, the news had already leaked in bits and pieces. The media spun the story in every possible way. Some headlines were optimistic. Humanity reaches for the stars, or a new era of peace. Others were fearful. Warship sent instead of diplomats, is humanity doomed? Public opinion was divided. Some saw the Dreadnought as proof that humans were finally serious about defending themselves. Others feared it would provoke the Velarans into attacking first. Back on the Resolute, Arya held a meeting with her senior officers in the ship's strategy room. Maps of Veleran space glowed on holographic displays, showing planets, star systems, and possible alien fleet positions. "Here's the situation," Arya began. "The Velerans are far more advanced than we are. Their technology is unlike anything we've seen. We know little about their intentions, and sending a ship like this could be misinterpreted. Commander Rylan Chen, the ship's tactical officer, leaned forward. With all due respect, Captain, that's the point. They will understand we are strong. They may not fear us, but they will respect us. And if they attack, we're ready. Arya frowned. Respect is earned through more than firepower. Humans have something they don't. A capacity to think creatively, to adapt, to negotiate. That's what I intend to show them. Not just that we can fight, but that we are worth talking to. The room fell silent for a moment, each officer contemplating the weight of their mission. Outside the ship, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to humanity's audacity. The countdown to departure began. Engineers scurried through the corridors, performing last-minute checks. Weapons were armed and then disarmed for practice drills. The crew conducted simulations over and over, practicing protocols for peaceful greeting, for alien engagement, for emergency combat. On the final day before departure, Arya walked alone through the hangar bay, staring up at the massive Dreadnought. Its hull was like black glass, sleek and ominous. Despite its beauty, she could not shake the feeling that this ship was both a shield and a warning, a symbol of humanity's power, but also its fear. Captain Voss, Aegis said, interrupting her thoughts. Final pre-launch checks complete. Awaiting your command to engage main propulsion. Arya took a deep breath, placing her hand on the hull. Very well, Aegis, let's show them who we are. Not just our strength, our spirit. The engines roared to life, a vibration that resonated through every metal beam of the ship. The Dreadnought lifted from Earth's surface, leaving a trail of fire and smoke as it ascended into orbit. Below, millions watched, some cheering, some holding their breath. Humanity was leaving its cradle, armed not just with technology but with pride, curiosity, and a stubborn determination to be recognized. As the Resolute sailed into the void of space, Arya contemplated the challenges ahead. The Valarans had waited decades, perhaps centuries, to meet humanity, and humanity had arrived. Not with a handshake, but with a Dreadnought. She knew the galaxy would judge them by what they did next. And somehow she had to make sure humanity's first impression did not lead to war. Somewhere in the depths of space, the Valarans were already aware of humanity's approach. Ships moved silently, scanning, observing, waiting. They had seen the Dreadnought before it even entered their territory. Their eyes, if they could be called eyes, glimmered with curiosity, calculation, and a hint of caution. Captain Voss exhaled, her jaw set. We came for diplomacy, she murmured, and we'll get it, even if they think we came for war. The stars stretched endlessly before them, vast and silent. Humanity's fate and its first step into the wider universe had begun. The vastness of space stretched endlessly before the Resolute. Stars sparkled like distant diamonds, indifferent to the tiny ship that carried humanity's future on its steel shoulders. Captain Arya Voss stood on the observation deck, hands clasped behind her back, eyes fixed on the distant horizon. Aegis, the ship's AI, had mapped millions of star systems, but none of that mattered until they reached the Valaran border. Captain, Aegis said, its calm voice cutting through the silence, we are approaching Valaran territory. Scans indicate multiple large vessels within the next 20,000 kilometers. None show hostile activity yet, but sensors detect advanced propulsion signatures inconsistent with known human technology. Arya nodded. Understood. Keep all communication channels open. I want their attention before they have a chance to make assumptions. Prepare a greeting protocol. The Resolute's crew moved with quiet precision. Each officer knew the importance of first impressions. The Valarans had observed humanity for decades, perhaps even longer. They had technology far beyond anything humans had achieved, and their intentions were unknown. The first Valaran ship appeared on the holographic display, sleek, curved, and shimmering with a faint golden glow. Unlike human vessels, it seemed almost alive, moving with a grace that no mechanical design could explain. Lieutenant Mara Quinn, the communications officer, studied the readings. Captain, their ships are enormous, but their weapon signatures are minimal. It's almost as if they are observing, not preparing for battle. Arya frowned. Or maybe they are hiding their strength. Either way, we proceed carefully. Aegis initiated a holographic greeting, a visual projection of the human delegation's faces along with a universal message. We come in peace. We seek dialogue and understanding. For a long moment there was no response. The Valaran fleet maintained its distance, circling silently like sharks assessing a new prey, or perhaps a new ally. Then, a single Valaran vessel detached from the main formation and approached the Resolute. Its surface shimmered, displaying patterns that seemed to change with thought or emotion. A voice resonated in the Resolute's communication system, unlike anything human ears had ever heard. It was melodic, rising and falling in complex patterns, yet somehow translatable by Aegis. "We have observed your species. Your arrival is unexpected." Arya straightened in her chair. "This is Captain Arya Voss. We come as friends, seeking dialogue. We mean no harm." The response came quickly, almost too quickly. "Your form is imposing. Your intentions are unclear. We will observe further before engagement." Arya exchanged a glance with Commander Rylan Chen. "They are cautious, but they haven't attacked. That's a good sign. Keep shields on standby, but do not fire unless I give the order." For hours the two fleets circled one another, measuring, scanning, learning. The Valarans did not speak again immediately, but their actions were deliberate. Smaller vessels approached the Resolute, and then retreated. Sensors indicated they were studying the human ship's design, its weapons, and even its internal layout. "Captain," Lieutenant Quinn said, pointing at the display, "they are transmitting data, or scanning. The information is strange. It's not just technical, it's almost emotional." Arya frowned. "Emotional? How can a ship transmit emotion?" Aegis's voice was neutral. "Their technology appears to integrate biological and mechanical systems. Their scans likely assess behavioral intent as well as physical construction. They are analyzing us as much as our ship." The tension in the bridge was palpable. Every officer understood that one misstep could trigger disaster, and yet, Arya felt a strange sense of pride. Humanity had sent a Dreadnought, yes, but they were not relying on weapons alone. They had ingenuity, courage, and the ability to adapt, a combination that no alien race could ignore. Hours later, a Velaran representative, an entity that resembled a luminous, semi-transparent being, appeared in the communication array. Its voice carried a sense of curiosity rather than threat. "Captain Voss, your species has sent a vessel designed for war, yet you approach with words of peace. Why?" Arya took a deep breath. "Because we are more than the sum of our weapons. Humans fight when necessary, but we also think, adapt, and reason. We hope you will judge us not by the tools we carry, but by the choices we make." There was silence, and for a moment, Arya feared her words had failed. Then the Valaran responded, its tone thoughtful. "You are different. Most species rely on strength alone. We will continue observation. You may dock at the neutral station for dialogue, but all protocols must be followed. Any act of aggression will be met with immediate response." Relief washed over the bridge, but Arya did not relax. "Prepare docking protocols," she said, "and keep weapons on standby. We will follow their rules, but we cannot afford mistakes." The Resolute slowly approached the neutral station, a massive structure floating between two stars. Its design was elegant, almost organic, with flowing shapes and surfaces that pulsed with light. Humans had designed stations for efficiency and defense, but this one seemed designed to impress, to communicate intelligence and culture. As they docked, Arya felt the weight of history pressing on her shoulders. The first physical contact between humans and an alien species would occur here, not with guns blazing, but with words, actions, and choices. The docking completed, a delegation of Velarans entered the Resolute. They moved with grace, their forms fluid and mesmerizing, yet their eyes, or whatever functioned as eyes, studied every human in the room. Arya stepped forward to greet them. "I am Captain Arya Voss," she said. "Welcome to our ship. We hope this is the beginning of understanding, not conflict." The Valaran representative's luminescent form shimmered. "We seek knowledge. We do not seek war. But your species' choice of vessel is remarkable." Arya allowed a small smile. We did not send this ship to frighten you. We sent it because we wanted to be ready for anything. But we hope it demonstrates not just our power, but our responsibility. We are capable of more than destruction. The Velarans studied her, and for a long moment neither side spoke. Then the alien voice returned, thoughtful and deliberate. Your words and actions are unusual. Most species would have attacked first. You have chosen differently. Observation continues. For the first time, Arya felt that humanity had truly made an impression, not by weaponry alone, but by thinking, adapting, and showing restraint, qualities that no technology could replicate. Over the next several hours, discussions began in earnest. The Velarans asked questions about human society, politics, and ethics. Humans responded openly, honestly, and sometimes with humor, small details that seemed to resonate deeply with their observers. Aegis monitored every word, every gesture, providing analysis on how humans were perceived. Its conclusion was clear. The Velarans were impressed, not by the ship, not by weapons, but by the crew's ability to communicate, understand, and adapt. Yet beneath the calm, Arya sensed tension. Some Velarans were more cautious than others, testing humanity's limits subtly. A pattern emerged. They would present a scenario, observe human reaction, and judge accordingly. Your species is unpredictable, the Velaran representative said. You do not act as expected. This is intriguing. Arya nodded. Humans are unpredictable because we think for ourselves. We make mistakes, yes, but we also learn from them. That is what makes us strong. The alien form shimmered brighter for a moment, a gesture Arya interpreted as curiosity or perhaps approval. By the end of the first day in Velaran space, a fragile understanding had been established. The Velarans had not attacked, they had not demanded surrender, and humans had demonstrated that they were more than their weapons. As night fell aboard the Resolute, though night in space was merely a matter of artificial lighting, the crew gathered in the observation deck. Stars stretched in every direction, vast and silent. Arya stood among them, feeling both pride and caution. We've made a first impression, she said softly. Not perfect, not guaranteed safe, but we've shown who we are. Not just strong, but capable of thought, creativity, and restraint. That is what will carry us forward. Commander Chen placed a hand on her shoulder. You did well, Captain. Humanity is showing its worth. The Velarans will remember this. Arya nodded, though she knew the challenges had only just begun. The galaxy was vast, and their place within it was uncertain. But for the first time, humanity had stepped boldly into the unknown, and they had done so with courage, intelligence, and heart. The neutral station shimmered softly under the twin suns of a distant star system. Its surface pulsed with light as if it breathed, alive in ways humans had yet to understand. Captain Arya Voss stood on the observation deck of the Resolute, staring at the strange beauty of the Velaran construction. Every officer aboard felt a mix of awe and tension. The Velarans had now made their intentions clear. Humanity would not simply speak and leave. They were being tested. Aegis's calm voice broke the silence. Captain, preliminary scans indicate that the Velarans have prepared a series of challenges to assess human capabilities. These tests are designed to evaluate intelligence, creativity, cooperation, and moral judgment. No weapons are required or permitted. Arya frowned. No weapons? Then this is a true test, not of strength, but of how we think, adapt, and work together. Prepare the crew for the first challenge. The first test began almost immediately. The Velarans projected a vast gravitational anomaly simulation within a specially designed field aboard the station. Ships that entered the simulation would be subjected to shifting gravitational waves, unpredictable currents, and intense spatial distortions. The challenge: navigate a small craft safely through the anomaly. Arya turned to Lieutenant Quinn, the communications and navigation officer. You're in charge of the simulation shuttle. Think creatively. Don't rely on brute force. Remember, the Velarans are watching everything. Quinn nodded. Understood, Captain. I'll need real-time calculations and adaptive maneuvers. Aegis, can you provide continuous feedback? Affirmative, Aegis replied. I will calculate thousands of potential paths in real time. The simulation will begin upon your command. The small shuttle detached from the Resolute, its crew tense but determined. As it entered the anomaly, space seemed to twist and bend around them. Stars warped, distances shifted, and the shuttle rocked violently. Other alien crews observed from nearby platforms, glowing forms shimmering in curiosity. Quinn's team relied on intuition and coordination rather than brute force. She issued calm commands, synchronized with Aegis's predictive calculations. Every minor adjustment mattered. A single misstep could spell failure. After tense minutes, the shuttle emerged from the anomaly unscathed. The Valaran observers pulsed with what Aegis interpreted as approval. Captain, Quinn said over the comms, her voice steady despite the adrenaline. The anomaly is behind us. Every obstacle navigated successfully. The Valarans. They're observing our methodology closely. Arya allowed herself a small smile. Well done, Lieutenant. That's exactly what they need to see. Humans think, adapt, and act together. The second test was less physical but more complex. A holographic Velaran AI presented a series of ethical dilemmas. Scenarios were constructed to challenge human morality, decisions about life and death, sacrifice for the greater good, and prioritizing logic over emotion. The crew debated, argued, and discussed every scenario. Commander Chen led the strategy while Dr. Lena Ortiz contributed scientific insight. Even Aegis analyzed possible outcomes. Humanity's strength was clear, not in following a single algorithm, but in collaborative thinking and moral reasoning. You choose to save one life over another? The Valaran AI asked during one scenario. Its tone was neutral, yet there was a hint of curiosity in its melodic pattern. Yes, Arya replied firmly, but only after considering every possible option. Humans value life, but we also consider the long-term consequences of our actions. We balance compassion with practicality. The Valaran AI paused. Interesting. Most species act on instinct or strict logic. You weigh, reason, and adapt. This is unexpected. The third challenge tested technological cooperation. The Valarans presented a device of alien design, intricate, alien, and seemingly impossible to understand. Its purpose was unclear, but it required precise coordination to operate. Human engineers examined it carefully. They could not rely on force or speed. Instead, they applied observation, trial and error, and teamwork. Slowly, they learned to manipulate the device, using human intuition alongside analytical thinking. When the device finally activated, a burst of light projected images of stars, galaxies, and civilizations far older than humanity. The Valarans pulsed with appreciation and acknowledgement of human ingenuity. Throughout these trials, Arya noticed subtle tests within each challenge. The Valarans were not just assessing skill, they were measuring human creativity under pressure, moral judgment, and the ability to learn quickly. The Dreadnought's massive arsenal, so carefully polished and prepared, was irrelevant here. Humanity's greatest strength was not in weapons but in intelligence, adaptability, and heart. One evening, as the crew gathered in the observation deck, Arya spoke quietly. They're trying to see if we will act predictably. If we attack, panic, or fail morally, it could end badly. But we are humans. We improvise. We learn. We find solutions where none seem possible. That is what they need to understand. Commander Chen nodded. We've proven skill and ingenuity already. Next will be the real test. Will they push us toward conflict to see if we follow instinct or reasoning? Arya's jaw tightened. Then we show them humans are capable of restraint. That our power is not for destruction, but for choice. The final challenge arrived without warning. A Valaran faction constructed a simulated threat, an apparent attack on a civilian station within their territory. Sensors indicated an incoming wave of alien craft, dangerous and fast. The test was clear. Would humans attack preemptively, or would they assess and respond thoughtfully? The crew's response was cautious, yet decisive. Rather than firing first, Arya and Chen analyzed the data, communicating with the Valaran observers in real time. They coordinated defenses to protect the civilians without escalating aggression. Every movement, every decision was precise, calculated, and restrained. Aegis monitored and reported. Captain, humans are responding with strategic defense protocols while minimizing harm. The Valarans' expected response of human aggression is not occurring. Arya allowed herself a small, proud smile. Good. That's exactly what they need to see. Humans do not attack without reason, but we will protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Valaran observers shimmered, their luminescent forms pulsing with what Aegis interpreted as admiration. Your species demonstrates remarkable restraint, ingenuity, and moral judgment. This is unusual. Most species would have responded with overwhelming force. Arya stepped forward, her voice calm but resolute. We are humans. We are strong, yes, but we also choose. Our strength is not just in what we can destroy. It is in what we can protect, create, and understand. For the first time, a true acknowledgement came from the Valaran High Council. You are worthy of further consideration. Your species is unpredictable, capable of creativity and guided by moral judgment. Observation continues. The crew felt a sense of quiet triumph. The Dreadnought, the massive warship meant to intimidate, had not been necessary. Humanity's greatest weapons were mind, heart, and will. The Valarans had designed their tests to measure power, strategy, and morality, and humans had succeeded. Later, in the observation deck, Arya addressed her officers. Today we proved something important. The Valarans wanted to see if we act like every other species, but we are not predictable. We think, adapt, and choose. That is our advantage. That is humanity. The officers nodded, silently acknowledging the truth. They had trained for combat, for exploration, and for diplomacy, but now they understood the core of human strength: creativity, collaboration, and conscience. Aegis's calm voice broke the silence. Captain, analysis indicates that the Valarans' respect for humanity has increased significantly. Probability of peaceful future engagement, 92.7%. Arya allowed herself a small laugh. Numbers don't matter as much as action, Aegis. Humanity has proven itself by doing what we do best: thinking, adapting, and choosing the right path. That is our true strength. As night fell aboard the Resolute, the stars outside seemed brighter, as if acknowledging humanity's resolve. The Valarans would continue to observe, but now they had reason to believe humans were a species worth knowing, worth trusting, and worth engaging with on equal terms. And somewhere in the depths of the glowing station, the Valarans whispered, among themselves, amazed that this fragile species from a small blue planet could display such courage, intelligence, and morality. The Dreadnought may have been meant as a weapon, but humanity itself had proven to be far more powerful. For Captain Arya Voss and her crew, the test was far from over. The galaxy held many challenges, many unknowns, but now they had established a foothold. The Valarans were watching, yes, but with curiosity rather than hostility. And humanity had once again shown that strength was not just in firepower, but in thought, heart, and choice. The journey continued. The stars beckoned, endless and mysterious. Humanity had survived its first trials and earned the tentative respect of one of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. And that respect, hard-earned and well-deserved, was the beginning of a story that would echo across the stars. The calm that had settled over the Resolute and the Velaran neutral station was deceptive. Captain Arya Voss walked the ship's deck, her steps measured, her mind alert. The Valarans had tested humanity in simulations, ethical scenarios, and technological challenges, and humans had passed. Yet a subtle unease hung in the air like a distant storm waiting to strike. Captain, Aegis said, its voice calm but precise. New activity detected. A group of Velaran vessels is moving unusually fast toward our position. Sensors indicate weapons online and aggressive formation patterns. Arya's jaw tightened. Are they attacking? Unknown. They are not part of the High Council fleet. I recommend immediate defensive measures, Aegis replied. Arya turned to Commander Chen. Prepare shields and defensive arrays. Keep weapons ready, but hold fire unless I give the order. We do not provoke them. Chen's fingers danced across the console. Shields online. Energy diverted to defensive systems. Ready for evasive maneuvers. The rogue Velaran faction arrived. A swarm of sleek, golden-hued ships moving with terrifying precision. They did not respond to communications. Sensors confirmed their intent. A test by force, a real-world challenge to gauge human reaction. Arya exhaled slowly. They want to see if we will fight without thinking. They will learn quickly that humans act differently. The first volley of plasma-like energy struck the Resolute's shields. The ship vibrated violently, alarms blaring. Crew members gripped consoles, shouting updates. Shields holding at 80%. Chen shouted. They're testing us, Captain. Do we counterattack? Arya's gaze hardened. No, defensive maneuvers only. Focus on protecting the ship and civilians at the station. Show them restraint. That is the human way. Aegis calculated thousands of defensive patterns in real time. The Resolute twisted, turned, and weaved, avoiding destruction through precision and timing rather than firepower. Each move was deliberate, a demonstration of strategy and discipline rather than aggression. The Valarans pressed harder, firing in synchronized patterns meant to provoke panic. Yet the human crew adapted at every turn, adjusting shields, redirecting energy, and keeping civilians safe. They did not fire, not once. The rogue faction expected fear, chaos, or a counterattack. Instead, they found calm, intelligence, and unyielding resolve. Captain energy reserves dropping faster than anticipated. Lieutenant Quinn called out. Shields at 45% under heavy attack. Arya's mind raced. Divert power from non-essential systems. Reinforce forward shields. Focus on defensive energy modulation. Use every advantage we have without aggression. Minutes stretched into an eternity as the rogue Valarans pressed their assault. The crew moved in perfect coordination, each human anticipating the next, reacting faster than any simulation could prepare them. And then, at the peak of tension, the rogue fleet stopped. A single Valaran vessel projected a message. Your species does not respond as expected. You do not attack. You do not panic. You protect and adapt. This is unusual. Arya allowed herself a small sigh of relief. We've passed their real test. But we must remain vigilant. This is far from over. The rogue fleet retreated, leaving the Resolute intact. The High Council arrived moments later, its luminescent vessels surrounding the ship. The Council's voice carried a tone of cautious respect. Captain Voss, your species has demonstrated remarkable restraint under extreme provocation. Most species would have responded with overwhelming force. Humans choose differently. This is impressive, Arya nodded. We act with both caution and courage. We will defend ourselves and others, but not without thought or necessity. The Council pulsed softly, their glow brighter than before. You are different. Most species fail under direct test. Humanity has passed. Your species is worthy of dialogue and alliance. The tension aboard the Resolute finally eased, but Arya knew this was only the beginning. The rogue faction had tested them in real danger, and the High Council had observed every choice. Humanity's true character had been revealed, not through weapons but through courage, intelligence, and moral judgment. Later, in the observation deck, Arya gathered her senior officers. Stars stretched endlessly outside the windows, silent witnesses to the trials humanity had endured. Today we learned something crucial, Arya said. The Valarans wanted to see if we would act like every other species, react with fear or aggression. But humans are different. We calculate, we adapt, and we protect. That is our strength. Commander Chen nodded. They expected chaos, and we gave them order. They expected panic, and we gave them resolve. They wanted aggression, and we gave them restraint. Humanity is showing its true face, Captain. Dr. Lena Ortiz spoke up. It's more than strategy. It's our creativity, our ability to think beyond simple cause and effect. That is what impressed them most. Not the ship, not the weapons, but us. Arya's gaze swept across the room. Exactly. The Dreadnought was a statement, yes, but it is us, our minds, hearts, and choices that define humanity. They see that now, and we cannot squander it. Meanwhile, the Velerans continued their observations, whispering among themselves. Some marveled at humanity's restraint, while others debated its implications. Could a species capable of both strength and morality survive in a galaxy filled with unpredictable dangers? The answer, they realized, was yes, but only if humans continued to act with intelligence and heart. As night fell aboard the Resolute, Arya stood alone on the observation deck, watching the rogue Veleran vessels retreat into the distance. The stars above seemed brighter, filled with possibilities. Humanity had survived its first real test in space, tested not by simulations or hypothetical challenges, but by real, deliberate aggression. And it had passed with flying colors. She spoke softly to herself. We came for diplomacy. We were prepared for war, but we showed them something more important. Humanity chooses wisely even when strength could allow destruction. That is who we are. Aegis's voice, calm and unwavering, responded. Captain, analysis indicates that the Velaran High Council now views humanity as a species worthy of alliance. Probability of cooperative engagement, 98%. Arya allowed herself a small, proud smile. Numbers are fine, Aegis, but what matters most is action. We have proven ourselves not through power alone, but through choices, judgment, and courage. That is humanity's gift to the galaxy. The crew, too, felt the pride and relief of survival and accomplishment. For the first time, they understood that their greatest strength was not their dreadnought or their weapons, but their minds and hearts. The galaxy might be dangerous, filled with unknown threats and challenges, but humans had demonstrated that they could rise to meet them with intelligence, courage, and moral clarity. And somewhere, among the luminescent ships of the Veleran High Council, a silent recognition passed between observers. These humans, though young and untested among the stars, were a species to watch, respect, and perhaps even trust. The night stretched into quiet contemplation. The Resolute floated in the starry void, a symbol of humanity's resilience and determination. Captain Arya Voss looked out at the endless expanse of space and whispered, We survived the test, and this is only the beginning. Humanity will not just survive the galaxy, we will thrive. The stars twinkled above, silent witnesses to humanity's courage, intelligence, and heart. And somewhere far away, the Valerans began to prepare for the next stage of what would become a historic partnership, forged not by weapons, but by wisdom, restraint, and the unique brilliance of humankind. The galaxy had seen humanity's resolve, and humanity, for the first time among the stars, had truly shown what it meant to be worthy. The stars shimmered like scattered diamonds as the Resolute glided silently in Velaran space. After the trials, the rogue fleet, and the careful observation, humanity had earned the attention and respect of the Velaran High Council. Captain Arya Voss stood on the observation deck, her hands clasped behind her back, staring at the vast expanse before them. Captain, Aegis said, its calm voice breaking the silence, the Velaran High Council has extended a formal invitation for humanity to attend a council session. The purpose, to establish interstellar cooperation and mutual knowledge exchange. Arya's eyes widened slightly. A council. They're ready to officially recognize humanity? Aegis responded. Affirmative. Your actions, restraint, and ingenuity have convinced the council that humanity is a species capable of both strength and wisdom. The crew gathered in the briefing room, a sense of anticipation and pride filling the space. Engineers, soldiers, scientists, and navigators, all who had been tested, observed, and challenged, listened as Arya outlined the mission. This is more than diplomacy, she said, her voice steady. This is history. Today we move from observers to participants. The Valarans have invited us to join their council. They want knowledge, collaboration, and trust, and it is our responsibility to show them humanity's best qualities. Commander Rylan Chen leaned forward. Captain, our readiness is unprecedented. Shields, engines, communications, everything is optimized. The Valarans will see not just our technology, but our spirit. Arya nodded. Exactly. Let's show them what humanity truly is. Not our weapons, but our minds, our hearts, and our will to do right. The Resolute approached the Grand Velaran Council Station, an enormous structure floating between two twin suns. Its surface shimmered like liquid light, constantly shifting and reflecting the energy of the stars. Humans had never seen anything like it, and the crew could hardly hide their awe. As they docked, a delegation of Velaran representatives greeted them. Their forms glowed, semi-transparent, elegant, almost ethereal, yet their presence carried authority, intelligence, and curiosity. "Welcome, humans," the Valaran High Council spoke in unison, their voices harmonizing in a strange, beautiful resonance. "You have survived tests, trials, and challenges we designed to gauge your strength and wisdom. Your species is remarkable. We now recognize humanity as an equal participant in the Council of Civilizations." Arya stepped forward, her posture straight, her voice calm and confident. "We are honored by your recognition. Humanity seeks knowledge, cooperation, and understanding. We hope to contribute as much as we learn." A luminous Valaran nodded. "Your actions speak louder than words. You arrived not just with weapons but with courage, intelligence, and moral judgment. That is rare. We value these qualities above all." For the first time, the humans truly understood the magnitude of what they had achieved. Not through the Dreadnought's firepower, not through intimidation, but through choice, restraint, and ingenuity, humanity had earned a place among the stars. The council session began, a combination of discussion, observation, and exchange of ideas. Valaran shared knowledge of advanced propulsion systems, medical technologies, and methods of interstellar communication. Humans offered insight into engineering, strategy, and, most importantly, adaptability under pressure. During a break, Arya walked along the deck, observing the crew interacting with Valarans. Dr. Lena Ortiz exchanged data with an alien engineer, while Commander Chen discussed tactical strategy with a Valaran military advisor. Despite the differences in physiology, language, and perception, mutual respect and understanding blossomed. "Captain," Quinn said, approaching with a smile, "it's incredible. They're actually interested in what we think, not just what we can do. They respect human reasoning and creativity." Arya smiled, her eyes glinting with pride. "That's the point, Lieutenant. Humans are more than weapons. We adapt, learn, and create. That is what earns respect." The Council had more than knowledge to offer. They spoke of civilizations older than humanity could imagine, of alliances that spanned galaxies, and of the responsibility that came with power. Humans listened, absorbing every detail. Yet the Council also emphasized restraint. "Power without judgment is dangerous," one Valaran said. "Humanity has shown wisdom in choosing restraint over aggression. Continue this path and your species will thrive." Arya reflected on the Dreadnought, the massive warship meant to intimidate, and realized the irony. Its presence had been a symbol of potential destruction. Yet humans had used it to demonstrate responsibility and moral strength. After hours of discussion, the Council formally welcomed humanity as observers with full participation rights. Humans could now propose ideas, join initiatives, and collaborate on scientific, strategic, and cultural projects. It was the first step toward a new era for humanity among the stars. Later, Arya stood on the observation deck, looking out at the Valaran fleets and the glowing Council station. Aegis's voice, ever calm and analytical, noted, "Captain, humans have achieved recognition and trust from one of the galaxy's most advanced species. Probability of long-term cooperation, 99%. Arya allowed herself a small smile. "Numbers are useful, Aegis, but what matters most is action. Humanity has shown that we can rise above fear, choice over aggression, and intelligence over instinct. That is what matters in the galaxy." Commander Chen joined her, arms crossed. "It's remarkable, Captain. From a ship built for war, we've made allies. We've proven our species without firing a single shot. That's something no one expected." "Exactly," Arya replied. "We did not need to destroy to be heard. Our strength lies in thinking, adapting, and choosing rightly. That is humanity's gift, and now the galaxy knows it." Word of humanity's success traveled back to Earth, sparking celebration, pride, and renewed purpose. People everywhere realized that humanity had taken its first steps into the stars not as conquerors, but as thoughtful, resilient, and capable explorers. Meanwhile, the Dreadnought itself, the USS Resolute, stood as a symbol of human potential. Though built for war, it had been a vessel of diplomacy, courage, and creativity. Its massive hull reflected the twin suns, a reminder that even the greatest power is meaningful only when guided by wisdom and morality. As the crew prepared to return to the Resolute, the Valarans offered one final gesture. A small fleet of vessels, sleek and luminous, would escort the humans back to the edge of known space, a sign of trust, honor, and partnership. On the observation deck, Arya looked out at the stars. She felt a deep sense of responsibility, knowing that humanity's actions would echo for generations. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "The galaxy is vast, full of unknowns. But now humanity has allies, knowledge, and the proof that we are more than weapons. We are thinkers, creators, and protectors. That is who we are." The Resolute slowly detached from the Valaran Council Station, escorted by glowing ships that seemed almost alive. The crew worked together seamlessly, their hearts and minds aligned with purpose. They had faced tests, provocation, and moral dilemmas, and had passed not by fear or aggression but by intelligence, courage, and wisdom. Aegis's voice broke the silence one last time. "Captain, the Valaran High Council has formally recognized humanity as a species capable of cooperation and moral judgment. Future engagement opportunities are unlimited. Humanity has earned its place in the galaxy." Arya closed her eyes briefly, letting the weight of history settle around her. "We came for diplomacy," she said. "We were ready for war. But we showed them something greater. Humans are capable of thought, courage, and choice, and that is our true power." The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to a species that had stepped boldly into the unknown and earned the right to thrive. Humanity had survived, adapted, and proven its worth. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but now humans had allies, respect, and knowledge beyond their wildest dreams. As the Resolute sailed toward the edge of known space, the Dreadnought no longer seemed like a weapon of war. It was a symbol of human potential, courage, and moral strength, a reminder that even in a universe of unimaginable power, the greatest force was the mind and heart of humankind. Captain Arya Voss stood on the bridge, looking at the horizon. "Humanity has begun a new era," she said. "Not as conquerors, but as thinkers, protectors, and explorers. And we will continue to show the galaxy what it truly means to be human." Somewhere among the stars, the Valarans watched and waited, confident that these humans, small though they were, would continue to rise through intelligence, courage, and the indomitable spirit that defined their species. The galaxy had witnessed the dawn of humanity's new chapter, and for the first time, humans truly understood that their strength was never just in weapons, but in their ability to choose, to think, and to rise above fear and aggression. A new era had begun, and humanity was ready to meet it.